Hello, this presentation is being narrated by Lloyd for the University of the Sunshine Coast, Sippy Downs. The subject is MKG222 Marketing of Social Causes. Executive Summary. The following is an intervention plan designed to decrease the number of youths participating in addictive behavior. After identifying two behaviors in need of change, two intervention phases have been created to support a change in each behavior. Phase 1. Change advertisements to get youths abandoning gambling habits. And Phase 2. An information session called Recognize the Signs to get adolescents rejecting gambling behavior. Towards the end, evaluation strategies will be discussed to keep the intervention on track. Table of contents. Here is a table of contents. All the topics that the intervention will cover are numbered and listed accordingly. Introduction. The main objective of the intervention is to drive a successful behavior change. Through gathering literature of youth online gambling addiction, this report will accumulate as much evidence as possible to explain the themes and gaps, create an intervention plan, and evaluate the results. After the intervention has been put in place, behavior change in adolescents will be detected and hopefully lead to a decrease in statistics regarding youth online gambling addiction. Scoping study. This presentation will develop an innovative ethical intervention plan to address youth online gambling addiction. This intervention plan is in the form of a creative and persuasive PowerPoint presentation using embedded audio to narrate. This PowerPoint does not exceed 30 slides or 2,500 words and will not go over 20 minutes of embedded audio narration. This presentation will also include 15 credible source documents beyond the textbook. What the literature tells us. Online gambling is now more addictive than any other type of game due to its structural characteristics, such as immediacy, ease of betting, and so on. Ongoing youth gambling addiction leads to strained relationships, delinquency, criminal behavior, depression, and even suicide. Pathological gamblers, adolescents with parents who accept and participate in online gambling activity, are more likely in the future to engage in youth online sports gambling. The consequences of addictive gambling behavior are so serious that in 2012 Prime Minister Gillard set a daily loss limit as it was causing a social cost of $4.7 billion a year. Target audience. Research established that people experiencing gambling problems started gambling at young ages, even prior to adolescence. Analysis of prevalence rates of pathological gambling among youths in Australia suggested that between 4.4% and 7.4% of youth aged 13 to 20 met the diagnostic criteria for pathological gambling. These current reported rates of serious gambling are considerably inflating. Today's children are the first generation of youth to grow up in a society where a multiplicity of types of gambling exists, and gambling venues are not only widely available but also heavily advertised and promoted. Behavior change theory. To stop the growing social cause of youth online gambling addiction, deterrents need to be faced towards youths. Two ways are doing so through school lectures and extinguishing promotional gambling adverts. The first behavior change needed is abandon an old undesirable behavior. Gambling advertisements increase the probability of youths engaging in future gambling activities. Gambling advertisements reach all ages and people. Instead of gambling adverts supporting the activity, these adverts could successfully deter the activity. Reject a potentially undesirable behavior. This is aimed at school kids between the age of 13 and 17. School lectures and talks from special guests and police have been used in the past to warn graduating students about the dangers of schoolies and speeding. In relation to online gambling, These talks can include special guests such as older people that have been affected through online gambling addiction. Conceptual model. This section of the report will describe the theory of planned behavior by breaking it down into its components and then mapping the relationship of why adolescents choose to participate in addictive online gambling behavior. Subjective norms. Subjective norms about the social acceptability of online gambling and how TV adverts, celebrity endorsement drive inductive norms within adolescence. As well as this, parents, family, and friends' participation can drive descriptive norms. Behavioral attitude. With adolescents witnessing advertisements that promote the activity as fun, enjoyable, and exciting, it creates an effective attitude that the activity is good. Gambling advertisements are also facilitated with the attainment of wealth as well as happiness, creating an instrumental attitude that participation is beneficial to the individual and not harmful in any way. Perceived behavioral control. With adolescents witnessing sporting advertisements and supporting the act of online gambling with no deterring ads like smoking and drinking, it gives the perceived behavior that the activity is controllable and that everyone is capable of winning thousands of dollars with ease and with little challenges and barriers. Altogether, they drive intentions. Behavioral intentions are defined as a person's perceived likelihood or subjective probability that he or she will engage in a given behavior. In this theory, intentions are driven by social norms, behavioral control, and attitudes. Behavior. Strong intentions drive behavior. In other words, adolescents will end up following through with the behavior of online gambling if there are strong intentions to do so. Once an online gambling consumer becomes addicted, they can go purely off past experiences. Intervention plan. This intervention plan will be carried out in two phases. Phase 1, advertisement directives, and Phase 2, recognize the signs. Intervention aims. This intervention aims to see a change in statistics and a change in behavior. The ultimate goal of the intervention is to stop adolescents from witnessing advertisements that support online gambling activity through Phase 1's advertisement directives, and guide adolescents to support lines and help through Phase 2's recognize the signs. Potential partners and important stakeholders. Internal stakeholders are all involved in the welfare and success of the school and its students, and external stakeholders have a say and are affected by our actions. Internal stakeholders can include students, teachers, and parents, and external stakeholders include other gambling companies and the Australian government that give regulations. Phase 1, Product Strategy, Advertisement Directives. Phase 1 will stop youth between the ages of 13 to 17 from witnessing advertisements that support the activity of online gambling. 4 steps include activate behavioral change, remove the help barriers, sustain behaviors, and provide encouragement. This section also includes the core product, actual product, and augmented product. Phase 1's price strategy. So our monetary barriers will be funded through sponsors such as governments, schools, teachers, focus groups, etc. Goods. So the main things we'll be paying for is for airtime and the props and the services we are hiring the film crew, our cast and directors. Non-monetary prices include time, effort, psychological and physical discomfort among youths. Money rewards, rebates, allowances, cash incentives and price adjustments. Product strategy, Phase 2. Recognize the signs. Phase 2 will directly address school students between the ages of 13 to 17 in regards to kids' awareness about online sports gambling and the outcomes of gambling addiction. The program will also have sessions for teachers and professional people to help them recognize the signs in adolescence and guide them to support and services. This phase also includes 4 steps of stopping the behavior, removing the barriers, sustaining the behaviors, and providing encouragement. Below are the 3 products of core, actual, and augmented. Phase 2's price strategy. Just like Phase 1, monetary barriers will be funded through sponsors such as governments, schools, teachers, and focus groups. Main things to be paying for would be pens, projectors, rewards for the children, printings such as handouts, and wages for the staff. Services that we need to hire lecturers and special guests and hire some admin people. Non-monetary costs include time, effort, psychological, and physical discomfort. Some money rewards include rebates, allowances, and cash incentives. Play strategy. This section will focus on access convenience, reducing accessibility barriers, and the accessibility of competing behaviors. Below are 5 questions on play strategy, including proximity, target audience location, opening hours, point of decision making, and competitor access. Promotion strategy. In order for the intervention to be the most effective, it is best to be put through as many media channels as possible and be included within the subtext of the school's promotion and advertising. Media channels. All the media channels below can be used to promote services and support lines to help adolescents quit their online gambling addiction. This includes broadcast media and print and support media. Some mock-ups of what the intervention aims to look like. Evaluation strategy. The ethical evaluation can be found in section 4. Are the proposed intervention strategies and methods appropriate to target most groups? We believe they are, as recognized signs is during school time, which is in direct market. Student attendance can be measured to evaluate target groups and then test their knowledge through quizzes and surveys on the topic of youth online gambling addiction. In today's society, most of our targeted market, 13 to 17, watch television and have access to the internet. Web page reports can be evaluated to gather information on target groups accessing help. For written material, including websites and printed material, is the message we think we are sending the one that is actually being received by the target groups? Phase 1's Recognize Signs will go through quizzes and surveys to monitor what messages the target group have received. Online surveys can also gather information on the messages received. Do all segments of the target group comprehend the material? Disabilities, no internet. The intervention will be addressed all over TV, newspapers, magazines, and many more different channels. Those with no internet will be reached through different channels and can call the hotline to join in with focus groups. Evaluation strategy. What will be evaluated? When will the target group be evaluated? Who will be evaluated? And how will the target groups be evaluated? On the right, we have some anticipated challenges. Ethical considerations and potential unintended consequences. So our ethical principles are as follows. The intervention aims to respect autonomy, do no harm, benefit others, being just, and be faithful. Unintended consequences will be outweighed by the benefits, a better well-being for students and less adolescents participating in gambling behaviors. Conclusion. Main idea of the intervention is decrease the number of youths addicted to online gambling. In order to abandon and reject the behaviors, a two-phase intervention has been created. Phase 1, advertisement directives, and Phase 2, recognize the signs. After all phases are completely established, the intervention plan will consistently evaluate target groups in order to spot results and adapt to target markets' health and motives. The intervention plan may take time to be fully accomplished, but in the long term it will save many adults in the future from strained relationships, delinquency, criminal behavior, depression, and even suicide. Reference list.